Welcome to my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. Thank y'all so much for stopping by again this morning. Truly grateful. I just want to talk about some of the problems I encountered while renting in the Philippines that ultimately drove me to build my own place. I spoke with a friend of mine. He just arrived a couple of days ago. Him and his wife, they're visiting her family up in Pampanga. He's renting a nice looking house in Angeles City. And he sent me the picture of it. I was like, wow, man, that's nice. You know, it's more like it. Because he showed me the first picture was them in the province. I was like, wow, you going to rough it? He's like, no, here's my Airbnb. But then he said that the second floor is infested with termites. I was like, wow, man. You know, I said, how do you know? He said, man, it's so bad I can hear it, you know, in the walls. And I got to thinking, you know, because his next sentence was, that's why I decided we're going to build a house over here. I'm going to build my own house. And he was giving some specifics and everything like that. I was like, wow, man, this is exactly why I decided to go ahead and build. I mean, look, guys, we're not going to have the argument about, oh, you can't own the land and all that. There's ways around that, especially if you're really going to live here. If you're going to stay here, you know, you got somebody, you know, you're married, you got somebody you can really trust, or, you know, you can look into leasing the land. Okay, but let's not talk about that today, because a lot of people use that excuse to not do anything at all. They say, oh, I'm not building it. They really don't have the money or whatever it is. Instead of just saying that, they say, oh, I can't own the land. Okay, but anyway, he was talking about that. He said, I'm going to build it this way and that way, and certainly with all concrete. And it got me to thinking, this is why I built my house. Okay, and I'm going to just talk about some stuff I ran into over here. And you're probably going to run into it too if you're a 2 or 3 star guy like me. But the first thing is maintenance. Just like he was talking about, you know, with the infestation of termites. What I found out, just in my experience, because I'm keeping it on me, is you're going to get what you pay for over here in the Philippines, especially with rent. But the landlords, they spend very little money reinvesting in their properties. It's almost like a lot of the business over here, and you're going to see it. It's number one reason I didn't buy a condo, because I go in these very expensive condos, and ceiling tiles are missing, floor tiles are missing. The outside looks like garbage, man. I mean, there's a new condominium unit that they just built in Dumaguete. Couldn't be 2 or 3 years old. I'm sitting at the restaurant, I'm looking at this place, I'm like, wow. You know, no way I'm going to spend however many millions to move in there. But anyway, it's the maintenance. And they're slow, very slow in fixing anything. We've had 4 apartments. Well, we've rented 4 times. 2 houses and 2 apartments here in St. Carlos City. And we only have 1 landlord. If you picked up the phone and say, hey, I got a problem, boom, he's there. Because he's a foreigner. Him, you know, his Filipino wife. And because they were investing in their properties. They took very good care. If I went to that same apartment I rented, it's probably going to look better than it was 5 years ago when I moved into it. But very seldom are you going to run into that. So the maintenance, you know, so what I've seen over here with my own eyes is a lot of guys over here, they take their own money and they fix the problems with the place. Well, you're not going to get that money back. They're not going to give you a discount on the rent. It's just going to be, you're going to be making their property worth more. This isn't everywhere. I'm just saying some of the problems I encountered, it's the number one reason why I decided that I was going to build my own house, because the standard, they just didn't keep it up to the standard that I'm used to. And I'm not a 5-star guy, but hell, man. You know, if the roof is leaking, if the, what do they use? If there's plumbing problems, we need that fixed. We need that fixed immediately. Painting and all of that. Y'all see the maintenance I did recently on our house, because I'm like that, man. I'm really particular like that. I'm funny in that way. I'm almost like a perfectionist. When I seen that one crack, they all had to be fixed. The whole house had to be repainted and all that stuff. See, that's how I am. So when you're renting over here, you're not going to get that. So maintenance is something you're going to have to stay on top of. And of course, you know that's tied in with that deposit. They're going to find a way somehow to take it off that deposit you gave. But like I said, I'm not downing the rental system over here. I'm just telling you why I ultimately built my house. Yeah, I built it for Booby. Yeah, it was a dream of mine to rebuild and have my own house where people, no one can take it from me. Having lost a home over in America through divorce. Okay, I'm just letting you know that there's going to be some problems you're going to encounter. So maintenance is number one. Number two is cost. You know, eventually you're going to end up spending the same amount of money for your rent as it would take for you to build a house over here. I mean, because you're going to get what you pay for, remember? So if you don't want them problems, a lot of times you're going to have to spend $600-700 a month in rent, maybe more. So in 3 short years, you've already built the house, the cost that it takes to build the house. The Philippines is one of the very few places where labor is so cheap. I mean, over here. I mean, this is one of those places where you really can see how it's cheaper to live here than in the West. You know, because everybody talks about the rising cost of the Philippines and it's not as cheap as Vietnam and all these other places. Well, there's a reason people stay here in the Philippines. Okay, if you talk to 100 people, you're going to get 100 different reasons, but they end up staying. For me, what gets it for me is just a friendly environment, man. I feel safe here. I don't feel as lonely as I would in some of those other fancy places. Nobody bothers me here. And that goes a long way with me. You know, the people are very friendly here. And when you get our age, man, companionship and friendship, even freakship, it goes a long way in your life. Because people say, well, I want an out. What if I change my mind? I want to move to Thailand. Well, you're probably not going to do that. So the costs associated with it, you're going to eventually spend the money, guys. I promise you, you are. And you might as well spend it on something that you have some control over. Okay, remember they bring up that big roadblock, that big stumbling block. Oh, you can't own the land. There's ways to get around that. Talk to a lawyer over here. If you got the right type of visa, you can go into it as a business agreement. At least you'll own 40% of it. At least they can't sell the property without your approval. But we're just talking about some of the problems you're going to run into with renting in the Philippines. You're going to run into these problems everywhere. But I live here because everybody says, oh, I'm going to rent. It's cheaper. Is it cheaper? Is it really cheaper to rent? Okay. It'll be 3 years in October that we've lived in this house. And I would say it's on par with somebody that's spending $25,000, $30,000 per month in rent. Okay. And remember, that money is just going out the window. They're not really getting anything back. They've spent more than I've spent. Because remember, I've got 2 houses, really. It just gives me some more options. Yeah, you can sublease if you want to. You can rent your house and then sublease it, or rent a room out or whatever for Airbnb or whatever. But eventually you're going to pay. And you're going to pay more for renting. You're not getting anything back. It's the same reason people don't like to rent in their home countries. This is an investment. It really is. This is wealth. But it was just these petty things like maintenance, man. They just wasn't keeping it up to my standard, man. And that's what you're going to run into. Every time it rained here in one of the places I had, it's leaking. And they send some man over there and he'd have putty and he put on the roof. It never fixed the problem. That stuff wears on you, man. He's like, well, hell, if I'm going to be here, I might as well build my own place. That way, if something goes wrong, I can fix it. I don't need nobody's permission. And the money that I put back in here is reinvesting in my property. Because you're going to see that that's something that's not really done a whole lot and on par with what you're used to investing in their property. I mean, just something simple, man. I've had Airbnbs that I rented. You go into it, the whole sink and everything's taken off. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, the maintenance is showing up. Sorry, I'm out of here. You're going to see stuff like that. You're going to see mainly where it needs a good painting. They're not going to do it. And this is the type of stuff, you know, when you hear people say, well, I got this place for X amount of dollars, but you never see it. They build these places, oh, I got a nice condominium. They're only telling you one side of the story. We need both sides of the story so we can make the right decision. If you don't get all the information, full disclosure, of course you're going to say I'm going to rent. But we never come on here and talk about the problems we're having. It's okay to talk about that stuff because I did something about it. I'm not just going to complain. I built the house. I said, the hell with it. Now if something goes wrong, I'm going to fix it to my satisfaction. And very little's gone wrong with this place. Very little. And I can sleep good at night. So thank y'all so much for stopping by, man. It's okay to complain if you're going to do something about it. It's okay to give that other side of the story, the 360. You can't just talk about the good stuff. Oh, yeah, I'm paying $600 for this nice condominium in Cebu, but what else is going on, man? They're not painting the place. Okay, you don't have any privacy. Every time you come through those doors, the CCTV is on you. See, that's a double-edged sword. It's security, but yet there's no privacy. Anytime you bring somebody in, they're going to know. And one thing y'all got to know about people here, they'll tell on you. Okay, me and a friend here, his name is Rock. And we really don't look anything alike, but the Filipinos, we do. You know, especially before I lost this weight. You know, we're about the same color, bald head, black men. But me and Marilyn, we stayed at the La Vista Highlands Resort. And, you know, for a couple of days. I did a video on it. Well, a couple of days later, him and his wife went there. Well, the people said, yeah, you know, they're telling on him like, yeah, we saw you with another woman here last week. No, that wasn't him, that was me. And those guards in these condo communities, they'll do the same thing. Remember, you don't understand Tagalog or Visayan. So if you come through with another woman, which you're grown, you're not married, they're going to tell her, yeah, he's bringing other women in the building. But it's just some things to think about. You know, it's more than just, oh, I can't own land over here. Okay, that's really not a big stumbling block. That's something you can get over. People use that as an excuse. They're not going to do it anyway. They don't have the money probably to even build a house. But it keeps the conversation going. When they get over here and the toilet stopped up and, you know, just everything that can go wrong goes wrong in your place, you're going to have to make a decision. Do I want to keep shelling out this money, which is going out the window, remember? Or do I want to build me a little house like this? I'm not talking about a 220 million monstrosity. Or even a 20 million monstrosity. Even a 10 million monstrosity. You don't need that kind of stuff. Moving to the Philippines will make a minimalist out of you. You don't think anybody's ever been to my house would tell you. I've got a 56 or 58 square meter house, about 650 square foot. And you'll say, man, that's tiny. Not over here, it's not. It's plenty room, man. We're not stumbling over each other or anything. It's plenty room. You don't need anything bigger than that. When I was in the States, I had a 3,700 square foot house, which included, you know, a 1,500 square foot walkout basement. But I stayed in my bedroom most of the time, like I do here. I'll come out and eat sometimes, but most of the time it's spent in that one room right there. Okay? But thank y'all so much for stopping by again. I just want to put something else up here so you can stop with all the rhetoric, just repeating stuff over and over and over that you hear. Oh, renting is cheaper. Is it cheaper? Okay? If you're in America, if you're in the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, wherever you are, find it in your heart to help somebody. Now a day goes by, I don't help somebody. We're going to spin the wheel tonight. We're going to do the game show on Sunday. I give away money here, ladies and gentlemen, because money's hard to come by here. What better way to help somebody? They just don't go out and hand it out. They win it in these games. Because if I don't know anything else, I know this one thing for sure. When we help other people, we help ourselves. Take care. Stay safe, stay out of trouble. I'll see you next time. Don't do anything stupid. Look at all the information. Is renting really cheaper than building a house in the Philippines? That's what you need to ask yourself. Do all your due diligence. Talk to as many people as you can on both sides. Get you a lawyer. What's your options for owning over here as a foreigner? Okay, and do the right thing.